Finally, God is exposing your phone. Open it now, Archangel Michael says. The screen you hold is no longer a mirror of distractions but a window of truth. The light that wakes as you unlock it carries a command written in heaven. Tonight it reveals what was hidden and puts an end to silent confusion. The glow on your palm begins as a soft ember. It grows into clarity that wraps around your heart like armor. Every tap becomes a step toward the evidence you were meant to see. You feel a hush around you as if the room bows in reverence. A current moves through the air and gathers near the device. It is not a storm of fear but a tide of revelation. Your phone is not the enemy and it is not the master. It is a witness that stored the shape of your days and the breath of your nights. It kept records that your spirit deserves to read with courage. The gallery does not just hold pictures. It holds timestamps that speak like steady drums and mark when truth tried to whisper. Images sharpen into patterns that your eyes now understand. There is a message thread that once felt ordinary. The bubbles float like small lanterns in a long corridor. Tonight they line up and point toward a door you can finally open. You scroll with a calm hand that feels guided. Words that once slid past your attention now settle with weight. Each line unknots another thread that had tied your peace. A contact saved under a harmless name now hums with a strange light. The number carries a rhythm you recognize from late hours. The truth sits there with patient eyes and no more disguise. Voice notes wait like sealed envelopes. You press play and hear tones that never learned how to be honest. The pauses between sentences reveal more than the sentences themselves. Call logs stretch across weeks like footprints in soft sand. They do not shout and they do not lie. They simply testify about who came close and who walked away without courage. Some chats were set to disappear, but the echo remains. The cloud kept the outline because heaven permitted it. Your heart held the rest because your heart is trained to remember. The device reveals locations with quiet certainty. The tiny map expands and shows circles that overlap where they should never have overlapped. The pins glow like candles at a vigil for the truth. Screenshots appear in folders you forgot you created. They feel like letters you wrote to your future self. You thank the version of you who knew you would need proof and left it ready. Drafted messages live in the shadows of unsent honesty. They waited for the night when boldness would rise like dawn. That night has arrived and the drafts no longer tremble. Your alarm chimes in steady patterns. It reminds you of mornings when your body woke heavy because your spirit already knew. The alarm never accused you and never abandoned you. Notifications collected like fallen leaves. Most were harmless and many were kind. A few carried the weight of broken promises by pretending to be light. You notice how certain names appear at inconvenient hours. The timeline builds itself like a bridge made of facts. You walk across it and reach the land where denial cannot live. The keyboard remembers the phrases that were typed too often. It knows the shortcuts to apologies that were never sincere. It knows the path to hope that you are now strong enough to choose. Inside a hidden album lie fragments of a half-life. They were curated to protect a version of a story that could never stand in the sun. Tonight the sun stands in your room and the fragments turn to dust. The browser shows search histories that trace the shape of a restless mind. In those searches you find proof of your endurance. You also find the point where you will no longer bend. Apps open like doors in a hallway. Some rooms hold joy that you earned with patience. Other rooms hold echoes that fade as you breathe. Calendar entries mark dates with a firm hand. They tell you when the energy shifted and when your smile dimmed. They show you where the thread snapped and where you began to gather it again. Cloud backups speak softly, but they do not stutter. They carry everything you thought you lost and place it in your open hands. That is mercy shaped like megabytes and time stamps. Notes carry lines you wrote when the night felt heavy. You read them now and feel a hand on your shoulder. The hand is steady and it belongs to your future. Contacts that always asked and never gave sit in a dim corner. You slide them aside like curtains that blocked your view. The horizon widens and your spine lengthens. Muted conversations look like quiet lakes. Under their still surface swim old storms. You release them without ceremony and the lake becomes clear. Pinned threads hold the lessons you wanted near. You repin your standards above your fear. The order of your heart becomes visible on the screen. A folder labeled work carries proof of your diligence. A folder labeled home carries proof of your love. Neither folder carries the burden you were told to accept. Battery usage reveals what took the most energy. The chart shows where you invested and where you were drained. You decide to recharge with intention and not apology. Do not disturb taught you how to build a gate. You fortify it now with boundaries that do not wobble. Peace learns your new schedule and sits close. A private album holds photos of your growth. The arc of your courage is visible frame by frame. You bless the journey that created your current strength. Your phone vibrates with a truth that does not shout. The vibration travels through your bones and steadies your breath. You realize you are not afraid of clarity. Deleted items wait in a recycle bin like ghosts asking to be named. You look once and learn, then press the button that releases what cannot return. Your room feels lighter and your chest feels open. Your wallpaper changes from a scene of fatigue to a scene of power. The image is a promise written in color and light. Every time you glance, the promise repeats itself with quiet devotion. You set new passcodes that honor your future. The numbers align with dates that matter for freedom. Your device becomes a covenant with your next chapter. Emergency contacts become a true circle. It holds the ones who show up when the lights flicker. Their names glow like beacons and you rest in their reliability. The health app shows steps taken when you thought you could not move. You see the day you walked farther than your fear. You see the night you slept after a long drought of sleep. Your reminders list becomes a chorus. It sings of bills paid, meals cooked, and promises kept. It also sings of boundaries respected and self-trust rebuilt. You silence what uses your voice without permission. You amplify what honors your breath. The soundscape of your days becomes clean. Files once scattered like leaves now live in folders that make sense. Order returns as if it always knew the way home. You feel taller in the tidy space you created. The camera opens and for once it is not for proof. It is for celebration of a face that learned to survive and then learned to thrive. You press capture and a new era receives its first image. A playlist called Recovery begins to play without drama. The first song wraps a ribbon around your day. The second song builds a road beneath your feet. You delete the app that always fed your doubt. You keep the app that grows your craft. Your hands bless the work they were made to do. In settings you choose night shift for deeper rest. In focus modes you choose a life with clean edges. Your attention becomes a temple and your hours become sacred. You scroll less and live more. You answer yourself before you answer the world. Your phone learns the rhythm of your healed heart. A clean home screen welcomes the morning. Only what matters remains, and it breathes with you. The rest bows out without a scene. You create a folder called Evidence of Grace. Into it you place screenshots of kind words and quiet wins. The folder expands like a warm constellation. Another folder is called Lessons. The entries stand like signposts on a mountain path. You pass them with gratitude and no hunger to return. You archive conversations that no longer match your frequency. You star the few that nourish your spirit. Your inbox becomes a garden instead of a market. Notifications slow from a flood to a stream. Each one feels like a visitor instead of an invasion. You open them when you choose to open them. Your phone now serves your mission instead of your fear. It partners with your mind and not your panic. It answers to your spirit, which has always been the authority. Photos of old celebrations glow without bitterness. The light in them belongs to you forever and no thief can claim it. You smile and the moment does not break. You keep a note titled Non-Negotiables. It fits on one screen and fits in your bones. You review it like a compass before the day begins. When doubts creep, you open the thread of promises you made to yourself. You read them like a contract signed in calm ink. Your name on that page feels like a rising sun. The device that once felt heavy now feels like a tool. Tools build houses and bridges and tables where you can eat in peace. Your hands learn their weight and wield them with grace. You send a final message to the version of you that stayed in the shadows. It is a message of thanks and release. That version nods and walks into the gentle distance. You do not chase what the evidence already freed you from. You do not bargain with what the evidence already judged. You step forward with a quiet that protects your joy. Tonight, the phone is placed face down, not in avoidance but in mastery. The room is not empty because courage fills it. Sleep arrives like a shoreline and you walk into it without fear. Morning meets a new order and a steady breath. The screen wakes and salutes your purpose. It is a partner now and it knows its place. You keep breathing and the day keeps unfolding in clear lines. What was tangled lies behind you like cut rope. The path ahead is clean, bright, and yours to walk. No part of this truth needs noise to survive. It lives because you are awake. It grows because you are willing. If others expected your silence, let their expectation fade like fog. If others depended on your confusion, let their dependency collapse without ceremony. You are not responsible for the scaffolding of their illusions. Your courage does not need approval. Your decisions do not need explanation. Your peace does not need permission. This chapter begins with clean data and a clean heart. It continues with steady boundaries and bright focus. It thrives with love that honors your dignity. The lock screen displays the time and the truth within it. You are right on time and right in truth. Nothing stolen can outrun what is returning. You bless the device for its service and you bless yourself for your strength. You bless the hours that taught you to read signs without fear. You bless the road ahead which glows like a promise kept. Your hands rest. Your chest rests. Your future does not rest because it is already moving to meet you. The evidence has done its work. The lesson has done its work. You have done your work and you are free to build. A new contact enters your life with honesty for a foundation. A new opportunity enters with clarity for a roof. A new joy enters with integrity for a door. You walk through that door with steady steps. The handle feels warm and sure. The room smells like clean beginnings. Your phone hums once like a companion who understands. It settles on the table and waits to be helpful. It belongs to you and not the other way around. In the calm that follows, your mind opens like a bright window. Breeze moves through and carries out the last fragments of stale air. Space fills with the fragrance of new purpose. You gather what matters and release what does not. You organize the day like a composer arranging notes. The song you write is not loud, but it is true. Every setting now reflects your values. Every folder now reflects your priorities. Every message you send now reflects your strength. This is how exposure becomes elevation. This is how clarity becomes protection. This is how truth becomes home. Your phone lights once more as if to bow. It recognizes your authority. It keeps your records with respect. You breathe in the future and it breathes you back. Your steps align with the evidence of love. The path is not crowded because it is yours. Tonight returns with a soft crown. The crown sits on your head like it always belonged there. You face tomorrow with a glow that does not ask permission. This is the chapter where you are not afraid of your own reflection. This is the chapter where you do not carry the weight of other people's shadow work. This is the chapter where your device is a lantern, not a labyrinth. Open the day as you opened the phone. Walk in the same light that revealed what needed to be released. Keep moving in the honesty that keeps you safe. The story is no longer about what hid. The story is about what stands. You stand and the story stands with you. You name your life in clear words. You frame your days with steady lines. You refuse to shrink from your own clarity. Let the phone rest while your purpose rises. Let the files rest while your peace writes new pages. Let the past rest while your present builds something beautiful. Here is the quiet triumph that cannot be undone. It fits in your pocket and it fills your chest. You earned it sentence by sentence and step by step. The light that began in your palm now lives in your eyes. It moves through your voice and shapes your choices. It meets the world and the world recognizes it. Carry this order into every screen and every room. Carry this mercy into every plan and every promise. Carry this strength into every sunrise you are given. When you end the day, end it with the same clean certainty. Place the device down like a sealed letter to tomorrow. Sleep like someone who knows the truth and is loved by it. Wake like someone who knows the truth and is led by it. Build like someone who knows the truth and is backed by it. Live like someone who knows the truth and is bright because of it. The exposure is complete. The fear is finished. The way forward is lit. The truth did not end with a screen. It began walking beside you like a quiet guardian. It adjusted your pace until your breath and your choices matched. You felt the room change shape around your resolve. Walls that once echoed old stories stopped repeating them. Space opened where pressure had lived. You named the day for what it was. It was not an ending but a recalibration. It was not a collapse but a clearing. Your home screen became a map of priorities. Creativity moved to the first row as an oath to your gifts. Distraction moved off the page like fog at noon. You built a ritual that respects your attention. Mornings belong to purpose before notifications breathe. Evenings belong to recovery before the world asks for one more glance. Your phone learned the difference between urgency and noise. It rings for the rare few who honor your time. It stays silent for what used to drain you. You archived the story of pretending everything was fine. You replaced it with a record of small honest steps. Those steps add up like steady deposits into a future you can trust. The gallery became a museum of milestones. It held the day you chose clarity over chaos. It held the moment your posture changed and never collapsed again. A contact labeled opportunity finally called. You answered with a voice that did not apologize for being ready. The call turned into a doorway, and the doorway turned into a path. You wrote a note titled "Boundaries That Love Me." It listed what you allow and what you release. It read like a treaty between your peace and your power. You set a daily reminder called "Water You're Becoming." It pinged at the same time that old anxiety once woke. You smiled because the alert now nourishes instead of alarms. Old screenshots of red flags no longer hurt to see. They educate without reopening the wound. They confirm you are the person who will not walk back into the fire. You created a shared album of gratitude with a trusted friend. Each week you drop one picture that proves your growth. The album glows like a lantern you can carry into any room. Your search history began to change shape. It shifted from survival to strategy. It shifted from wondering if you are enough to planning what you will build next. Even your charging habits became a metaphor. You plug in before you are empty. You rest before you are broken. The Notes app turned into a training ground. You built scripts for hard moments until they became muscle memory. You wrote releases for heavy moments until they lost their grip. Muted threads stayed muted because your life is not a courtroom. You do not argue with echoes. You do not negotiate with doubt. Pinned threads moved from pain to purpose. Your top pin is a checklist that keeps promises to yourself. Your second pin is a list of people who pour back. The lock screen stopped being a billboard for other people's urgency. It became a dashboard for your mission. Time on that screen looks like a friend and not a thief. You rewired late nights that once belonged to panic. They now belong to clean rest and gentle playlists. Morning greets a mind that remembers how to trust itself. The camera lens became a witness of new foundations. It captured meals you cooked for strength. It captured notes from meetings where you spoke with steadiness. You placed a widget called Focus where your thumb always lands. It is there like a gate with your name on it. Every tap is a reminder that you are the one in control. Old alarms that once woke dread now ring for discipline. They bring you to your desk with calm intent. They release you from your desk with healthy closure. The calendar filled with appointments you chose. There are blocks for deep work that nobody interrupts. There are blocks for joy that nobody feels guilty about. You reviewed your privacy settings and found your posture inside them. You kept your circle tight and your standards higher. You stood taller because your life matched your settings. Your phone became a lighthouse for how you live. It beams clarity across old waters. It guides new ships toward kinder shores. You curated who can reach you after dark. You curated who deserves your daylight. Your list is shorter and your life is brighter. Archangel Michael says, the evidence in your hand will keep training your courage if you let it. It will teach you to honor redirection without bitterness. It will teach you to hold the door open for blessings and closed for chaos. You kept a folder called Receipts of Resilience. Inside it sit timelines, messages, and maps that once felt like weight. They now feel like proof that you know how to walk away when needed. You also kept a folder called Joy on Purpose. It holds sunlit pictures, voice notes of laughter, and words that lifted your day. You open it like medicine that never expires. A new group chat formed around your growth. It has no gossip and no games. It trades wisdom, deadlines, and gentle accountability. Your hands began to reach for books more than feeds. Your eyes began to rest on horizons more than headlines. Your spirit learned the shape of peace that lasts. The device that once begged for attention now earns it. It earns it by holding you to your standards. It earns it by making your values practical. You gave the Photos app a new job. It chronicles projects, prototypes, and progress. It gives you a visual audit of a life built on purpose. You taught the browser to be a forge. It holds research and tools that strengthen your craft. It no longer hosts Spiral after midnight. Your keyboard learned to predict gratitude. It learned to predict clear agreements. It forgot how to predict apologies you do not owe. When an old number flickers, your body does not flinch. The logs cannot rewrite your standards. The screen cannot override your healed instinct. Quiet confidence began to replace the need to explain. You simply align and proceed. Your steps speak the language your heart understands. You keep a small ritual for endings. You archive with a breath. You bless your own exit and you close the tab. Morning routines now begin with a check-in that has no drama. You ask your body how it wants to be supported. You ask your mind what it needs to focus on. Afternoons include a review of momentum. You measure progress in consistency, not crisis. You honor small wins like stones that build a strong wall. Evenings include an audit of inputs. You clear clutter from the home screen like a gardener pruning vines. You sleep without the weight of unfinished boundaries. Your playlists matured into soundtracks for seasons. There is one for deep work and one for soft rest. There is one for brave conversations that always end with dignity. You started labeling photos with captions that are promises. Each caption is a sentence you intend to live. The archive becomes a contract between your present and your future. The Files app turned into a vault of opportunities. Resumes, proposals, and drafts live in crisp folders. Each file feels like a seed that knows how to become a tree. You built shortcuts that automate care. Water reminders are routine. Movement breaks are non-negotiable. Notifications became a curriculum. The only alerts that survive are the ones that teach you something. Everything else is homework you did not assign yourself. You turned off read receipts where they invited pressure. You kept them where they invite accountability. Your preferences now match your peace. Your phone case changed too. It is sturdy without being heavy. It reminds you that protection can be gentle and firm at the same time. Wallpaper quotes gave way to your own words. Your lock screen carries a line you wrote on a strong morning. It reads like a pledge that never fades. You stopped screenshotting drama for validation. You started documenting discipline for evidence. The shift feels like stepping from a storm into a studio. The contact labeled future you now has reminders attached. They trigger tasks that move your life forward in quiet increments. They stack until momentum becomes natural. You no longer chase clarity. You schedule clarity like a standing meeting with yourself. It never gets cancelled and it never runs over. Backup schedules mirror your boundaries. Both are consistent and both protect what matters. Both make recovery simple when life demands it. Old playlists that once held memories of chaos now hold memories of escape. You keep them not to reopen wounds but to remember the route out. They are maps you can share when someone asks for directions. Your phone records how you showed up when it counted. It keeps the message where you said no and meant it. It keeps the message where you said yes and rose to meet it. A new contact appeared and felt like sunrise. Respect arrived first. Kindness arrived next. You learn to pause before you respond. You learn to breathe before you commit. Your replies read like agreements instead of reactions. The health app continued telling the truth of your recovery. Steps added up and sleep reset old patterns. The graphs looked like rivers learning to flow clean again. You set focus filters for seasons of intense work. They let in what nourishes and block what distracts. You move through those seasons with less friction and more grace. Every app has a job or it loses its place. If it steals your time, it leaves. If it supports your calling, it stays. You discovered the joy of do not disturb as art. You sculpt hours where you are unreachable. Those hours produce your best work and your calmest evenings. Photos of your desk tell a small story. The surface is clear, the tools are ready, the chair is kind to your back. Your environment matches the inside of your mind. You created a recurring reminder to celebrate small completions. The alert says honor the finish. You honor it with a breath and a smile. Your device now reflects a covenant with your future. It is simple, sturdy, and sincere. It will not betray you because you do not betray yourself. Names that once felt heavy no longer take up space.